In his 1967 article, Truth and Meaning, Donald Davidson is interested in the compositional structure of natural languages. According to the compositionality principle, meaning of sentences depend upon the meaning of words. On mastering a finite vocabulary in a finitely stated set of rules, we are prepared to produce and to understand any of a potential infinitude of sentences. So Davidson is interested in what it is for a theory to give an account of the kind enumerated. Before proposing his own views, Davidson considers several proposals and rejects them on the basis of some arguments which we will see. Let's go on with the first proposal. According to this one, we assign some entity, reference as meaning to each word. Like to understand the sentence Socrates flies, we assign a reference to Socrates and another reference to flies, and we also need a relation of participating in or instantiating. Then at the end of this process, we have meaning specifying theorems in this form. T refers to X. T stands for the structural description of the sentence whose meaning we are interested in, and X is its meaning, so we can write that sentence in place of X if this is a homophonic theory. The problem with this view, according to Davidson, is that if we accept this view, then all sentences alike in truth value must be synonymous. Because for the majority in analytical philosophy of language, all sentences alike in truth value have the same reference. There is a proof for this claim. The proof depends on two assumptions. The first one is that logically singular terms like P and not P, they are logically equivalent because in all truth valuations they have the same truth value. So logically equivalent singular terms have the same reference. This is the first assumption, and the second assumption is that a singular term does not change its reference if a contained singular term is replaced by another with the same reference. Let's see the proof. Suppose R and S are two sentences alike in truth value. R is, you may say, R is snow is white and S is grass is green. They are alike in truth value because they are both true. And the second sentence and the first sentence are logically equivalent because they have the same truth value in all truth valuations. You can check it. Then according to the first assumption, they have the same reference. So first two sentences have the same reference, whatever that is. And this holds for last two sentences, they have the same reference, third and fourth sentences. The second assumption says a singular term does not change its reference. A singular term like this one does not change its reference if a contained singular term like this one, this is a contained singular term, is replaced by another with the same reference, another with the same reference, this one. These two singular terms, these two expressions have the same reference. It is because of this operator here. You do not need to know this operator, but for the sake of simplicity, you can take this as an operator about the truth value of this formula. So then these two have the same reference. If they have the same reference for the same second assumption, these two sentences have the same reference. We know that first two have the same reference, these two have the same reference, and these two have the same reference. Then by transitivity, we conclude that R and S have the same reference. So if they have the same reference, and if we take reference as meaning, then all sentences alike in truth value must be synonymous. That's an intolerable result because R and S, grass is green and snow is white, are alike in truth value, but they are not synonymous. They have different meanings. So the philosophically important point here is that questions of reference are, in general, settled by extra-linguistic facts. Questions of meaning not. And the facts can conflate the references of expressions that are not synonymous. So questions of reference, like the reference of Aristotle, are settled by extra-linguistic facts, but questions of meaning are not settled by extra-linguistic facts. This is the problem here. So then we need a theory of meaning as distinct from reference. Second, in the second proposal, we assign some entity but not reference, as meaning to each word. Those entities are meanings themselves rather than references, because of the problem with the first proposal. So we also need a relation of participating in, a relation between those meanings, a relation of participating in or instantiating, and at the end we have meaning specifying theorems in this form. S is the structural description of a sentence, and M is that sentence itself, since M stands for meaning, and we can express meaning here with that sentence. Suppose this is a homophonic theory. This is the structural description of the sentence "Snow is white" means. Then we write here "Snow is white." That's the meaning. The problem with this view is that Davidson says my objection to meanings in the theory of meaning, so we use meanings in the theory of meaning, is not that they are abstract. This is not the problem. Meanings are abstract, but that's not the problem, or that their identity conditions are obscure. But the problem is that they have no demonstrated use. So those meaning specifying theorems like meaning of Theaetetus flies or Socrates is a philosopher is its meaning, is the meaning that meaning of Socrates flies, or Socrates is a philosopher, whatever that is not really useful. That's the problem with meanings in the theory of meaning. The third proposal do not assign any entity as meaning. So we have meaning specifying theorems in this form. Here we do not have any entity, because this is not that P for Davidson. That P is not the name of any entity. And this form shows that this theory do not assign any entity as meaning. We are not interested in entities, meaning as entity theory right now. But we have an intentional operator here. This is the structural description of the sentence, and this is its meaning. But the problem is with this intentional operator for Davidson. Davidson, as a follower of Quine, do not really like any intentional theory. Intentional with S, by the way, not intentional with T. That's something else. Here we are talking about intentional with S. The logic you took, I think all of you took, are about extensional operators. Is true is an extensional operator. Refers is an extensional operator. Or those conjunctions like and, or, if and only if, they are all extensional operators. Here means that is not an extensional operator. It's an intentional operator. And Davidson says it looks as though we are in trouble on another count. However, for it is reasonable to expect that in wrestling the logic of apparently non-extensional means that we will encounter problems as hard as or perhaps identical with the problems our theory is out to solve. So he just rejects this proposal on the basis of that means that is an intentional operator. It's a non-extensional operator. So we cannot really deal with, for Davidson, as a follower of Quine, we cannot really deal with non-extensional operators. That's the problem with this third view. That's the end of this part. In the next section, we are going to talk about Davidson's own theory.